Hi guys, I am not sure what's true or false in this video. I am just here to take the gossip, scandal, and tea from online, from yesteryear, from word of mouth, from books, from magazines, from anywhere that I can find it, and I ball it all up and I tell you guys a story. Now, let's get to it.
Hello, Scandalites and Says So Squad. This is Ashley with Ashley Says So, and I am back with another old Hollywood Scandals video. And before we get started, I would like to give a shout out to some of my members. First, we have Tracy Howard, Barbara Mitchell, Brianna Vian Brock, Glamping Diva Jules, Shaltae McLean, Joan, Techi or Techi, Business Made Perfect, Miss Ladiva, Darylyn Robinson, and Corey De La Tomas. Thank you guys so much for becoming members of Ashley Says So. And if you are a current member and your name was not called, please do not worry, do not fret. I will continue to call names the further I go along. Now today we are going to be talking about the absolutely gorgeous, talented, and kind of scandalous child. I didn't know this, honey. Miss Lena Horne. Let's get to it. Lena Mary Calhoun Horne was born on June 30th, 1917 in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. Her mother, who was an actress in her own right, was named Edna Louise Scottron, and her father, who was a big-time kingpin, he ran numbers and did gambling, that type of thing like that. His name was Edwin Fletcher Teddy Horne Jr. Now, because Lena was born to an upper middle class, well-educated black family who also had ties to President John C. Calhoun, a lot of people thought that her home life was perfect and that she was pretty much raised with a silver spoon in her mouth. That could not be further from the truth. First of all, her parents rarely paid much attention to her because they were both wrapped up in their own thing. You know, her daddy was too busy wrapped up being this numbers kingpin, and her mother was wrapped up into being an actress and pursuing her career. So that kind of left little Lena blowing out in the wind. And secondly, her mother and father also did not get along well. So by the time Lena turned 3 years old, her father left the family. So she was left to her mother, who again wanted to pursue her own acting career. Now, true enough, while her mother was traveling, because she did do a lot of acting with a lot of black acting troupes, so she traveled all over the place. True enough, she did take Lena with her, but traveling all over with the characters and different personalities in an acting troupe is no place for a little girl. So soon Lena was sent to live with her paternal grandparents, and they pretty much exclusively raised her from then on out. I mean, she did live at some points with her mother, but the actual child rearing while she was very young was done by her paternal grandparent. Now, by the time Lena had become 14, 15, 16 years old, somewhere around there, she was living back with her mother, Edna, and she also was attending school. Unfortunately for all of them, Edna's acting career had not worked out. She had not made a name for herself, and she had no money. So she ended up like, hey, school is not paying any bills. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I'm not making any money. You are younger than me. You need to get out there, do what you got to do, use what you got, and you need to make us some money. Matter of fact, go down there to the Cotton Club and see if they will hire you as a chorus girl. And so Lena did what her mother asked. She did drop out of school. She did not get her diploma, and she also went down to the Cotton Club and she auditioned to be a chorus girl. And wouldn't you know it, she hooked the job with no problem. And nobody was surprised that Lena had hooked this job. I mean, she was a very beautiful girl. She was actually the exact type of girl that they were looking for. But the thing is, Lena impressed by not only being a great dancer, she ended up being a standout. She ended up being a girl that people noticed. And that is not an easy feat amongst Cotton Club dancers. If you have not yet, please go on YouTube and look at some of the video clip of the Cotton Club dancers. They were all very tall, long-legged, statuesque, beautiful women. So to stand out amongst that crowd is not an easy feat, but Miss Lena Horne had no problems. In fact, she stood out so much that even the celebrities and stars of that time period took notice of young Lena. Like Adelaide Hall, for example. Adelaide Hall is what you would call big, huge news back at this time period, and she ended up taking Lena up under her arm and kind of helping her navigate show business, or at least navigate how to survive at the Cotton Club and what she needed to do to grow her career. And not only did Adelaide Hall help Lena, Freddie Washington is another one who supposedly took Lena Horne up under her arm and helped her navigate and get her start in show business. However, that relationship supposedly ended sour. I'm gonna give you some more tea about that in just a moment. So as you can see by what I'm telling you, Lena Horne is an absolute standout. She is drawing crowds. People are drawn to her. Sometimes people are coming to the club just to see her, just to look at her beautiful face or hear her sing or hear her perform, anything. And so as word starts to spread that this girl is basically drawing crowds, her family is like, well, why is you not making any money then if you supposedly this good? And Lena is like, you know, I don't know. I have went to the bosses. I have went to the owners. I asked them if they could pay me more, but they keep telling me no. So her stepdaddy, a man by the name of Miguel Rodriguez, was like, oh no. They're not gonna be sitting up there using my stepdaughter, drawing all these crowds, you know, making all this money, and y'all ain't trying to pay her? Oh, don't worry about it. I'll be up to that bar tomorrow. And so he went up there and he was like, hey, we need to talk about Lena getting more money. And the bosses were like, no, she's not getting any more money. This is the pay. And the stepdaddy was like, well, y'all need to do something. She's the one that's making y'all all this money. You know, basically defending his stepdaughter and telling them the truth. She is your moneymaker at this moment, so she needs to be getting some extra pay. Child, when he walked up in there like that, y'all already know what I'm finna say. Baby, them bosses bust that man all upside the head, child. They said they beat him up any kind of way. Child, he got himself and he ran up out of there and went back home to his wife. And after that, Lena was on her own. Child, she wasn't getting the pay, baby. She just wasn't getting the pay. That's it. Now, while Lena was working at the Cotton Club, she probably was worried about why she wasn't making as much money as she thought she was supposed to be making. But child, let me tell you something that she wasn't worried about. That was men. Baby, Lena had them parading back and forth wanting to get with her. And there was one certain guy that caught her eye. His name was Duke Ellington. Yes, ma'am, baby. Gossip says instead of the Duke doing all those riffs across his piano, he was doing them riffs all across Lena's. And she liked it. In fact, she loved it. Baby, they say they was getting it in almost every night. And I mean almost every night, because see, here's the thing. Miss Lena Horne wasn't no sweet little lamb. And if she saw something that she liked, oh baby, she took it. And she wouldn't stop until she got it. And it also didn't matter if the man was taken or single. That's Miss Lena Horne. Child. Now, one of Lena's biggest conquests, and the man that it said that she cared about almost more than anybody else that she dated, was Mr. Joe Louis. Oh yes, honey. Lena and Joe had something for each other as soon as they laid their eyes on each other. And they spent as much time together as they could. Days rowing and kissing on the peaceful lake. Nights hot and heavy in different hotel rooms. Under fake names, of course. And they honestly made a very beautiful couple to everyone around them. Well, hold on. Almost everybody. Because you see, Mr. Joe Louis was very married. And I'm sure his wife, Marva Trotter, was none too pleased about Lena Horne seeing her husband. In fact, I pretty much know, because if rumor is to be believed, Miss Lena Horne was that type of side chick that didn't mind flaunting it, letting it be known, basically letting Marva Trotter know in her face that yes, he's seeing me, what of it? And I say this because rumor has it that Joe Louis actually gave Lena Horne a first stove. And baby, don't you know they said this was Lena? This party is really something else, isn't it? I mean,
It
it's
sure
really
is.
the bee's
And Joe Louis is
knees.
over there. Did you see him?
Oh, he is over there, isn't he? I'm gonna go speak to him. Hi, Joe. How are you? Oh, hello, Marva. How are you doing tonight? Oh, you look gorgeous. Oh, thank you so much. I just love this first stove. Don't you love it? You know what? I'm not gonna hold you guys for long. I just wanted to come over and say hi, okay? All right. Bye. Messy, baby. Baby, they said once Joe gave Lena that fur, honey, she was wearing that fur everywhere, always undraping it and draping it and just basically really showing out. That's what she was doing. In fact, in a book written about Joe Louis's life, it is stated that Joe Louis had Lena Horne wrapped around his little finger and basically said that if he called, she would come running. And really, it was reading like it was a situation where he could pretty much play with her and put her back on the shelf. You know what I'm saying? And she was there for that. She would be waiting on that just when it was her turn, kind of like that. So yes, apparently Joe Louis was just out here being sorrier than the doggone board game. And not only was he dogging his wife with Lena Horne, he was dogging his wife with multiple women. Get this though, as much as people can look at Lena Horne and be like, dang girl, you just let him play you like that? Like really? He could just run over you like that? He was doing the same thing to his doggone wife. I mean, she had the title and everything, but she still was getting played. They all were. and Joe Louis was sorry enough to do it. That's just what it seems like. And I'm about to get off of Joe Louis, but I do want to say this. While I was researching this and finding this information out, it made me wonder, like, what was it that Joe Louis had that really just made these women fall all over themselves like that? Now, I'm not saying that he was unattractive. That's not what I'm saying. It wasn't that he was an unattractive man, but I certainly don't see in him what I saw in Jack Johnson or Sonny Liston or somebody like that. Like, he don't look like them to me. But then again, this is my personal opinion, and while I probably did not think Joe Louis was all of that, other women probably think, you know, he is a god. So, you know, just personal opinion. But honestly, it probably wasn't about Joe Louis's looks at all, because baby, don't you know that one of his managers or some man in his entourage said that Joe Louis had a member like a Coke bottle, honey. And I'm not talking about no 2021 Coke bottle. When he said this was like 20s, 30s, 40s, you know what I'm saying? And Coke bottles back then, as far as I know, were bigger than Coke bottles today. So we talking about them big, thick glass Coke bottles, and Joe Louis had it, baby. So when you think about it like that, Joe Louis was out here handing out them carbonated drinks to these women. That's why they was waiting in line for their turn. Anyway, back to the story. As you can see by the type of men that Lena Horne is pulling as soon as she steps on the scene, that people think the world of this woman. And her beauty was really magnetizing to everybody around. And soon she appeared in her first short film with Cab Calloway as a dancer, and that happened in 1935. And soon after that, she made her first singing records on the Decca label. And around this time, she was touring with the Noble Sisters Orchestra. Now, although Lena had her pick of the men, and there were always men clamoring all around her, in 1936 she found a man that she really liked, and this man charmed her off of her feet, so much so that she wanted to spend the rest of her life with him. And in January 1937, she married him. His name was Louis Jordan Jones. A few months after they were married, Lena became pregnant, and on December the 21st, 1937, she gave birth to her first child, a daughter named Gail. And then 3 years later, on February the 7th, 1940, a son followed, and his name was Edwin Jones. Now, Lena and Louis' marriage and relationship looked perfect on the outside. Many couples aspired to be like them, but on the inside, Lena was going through hell. You see, Louis was not who he acted like he was. He charmed her and was nice and took her places, you know, pretty much pulled out all of the stops to show her how a woman was supposed to be treated, but that was not the real him. In reality, this man was cruel and very evil and treated Lena any kind of way. Now, I'm not sure if there was any physical abuse going on, so I can't say whether he busted her upside the head or not, but I can say that verbally and emotionally, oh, this man gave Lena hell. He always blamed everything on her. He called her names. He basically made her feel like she was worthless. And not only did he treat Lena this way, he made the home life unbearable, because he was that type that had that really bad energy, you know what I'm saying? Just that negative presence that came home, and then everybody's walking on eggshells, you know, just always looking for a reason to fight. He was just bad, you know, just very narcissistic and very chauvinistic. And really, to sum it all up, he made Lena pay for being beautiful and successful. Because she was that, he had to knock her block down every chance he got. And for a minute, Lena put up with it. You know what I'm saying? She wanted to do what she had to do to make her marriage work. And if this is what it was, this is just what it was. But then homegirl stopped and she thought about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm Lena Horne. I'm fine as today's sunshine, and I'm a young woman. What am I doing putting up with this? I ain't got to put up with this man. And she didn't put up with it. And soon after their son was born, Lena left his behind. You know Louis couldn't have that. You know he couldn't have that, because see, this man thought he was God's gift to women. He couldn't fathom the fact that Lena didn't want him anymore and she's trying to toss him to the side. So he wanted to punish her, and he did punish her in the worst way possible. And that was by taking her only born son away from her. Yes, ma'am, yes, sir, he sure did. He got custody of their son, and it is said that he started raising that boy to hate his mother. He started speaking down on Lena every chance he got in front of his son, you know, feeding him lies about why his mother was doing that, probably even telling the boy that his mama didn't want him, poisoning this child. And this hurt Lena to her core. But here's the thing, as much as it hurt Lena, she did not give in to Louis' game, because see, Lena had been with this man, you know what I'm saying? She recognized narcissistic games when she saw it, so she was not going to give him the satisfaction that he wanted. You wasn't about to find her crying on his doorstep, asking for her baby, you know, begging, pleading. She wasn't about to do all that. But because she did not do all of that, This led to a bunch of rumors being spread around saying that Lena Horne did not care for her son as much as she cared for her daughter. And honestly, this is not the only reason people believe that about Lena Horne. We're going to get to a little bit more rumors about that in just a minute. But for now, let's get back to the story. So anyway, it is now 1940, and again, Lena and Louis are separated. They do not fully get divorced until 1944 comes around. But honey, in the meantime, Lena was out here getting busy. Or so gossip says. And this right here is actually some real and new tea to me, because I had no idea this was going on. But child, don't y'all know they said Lena Horne was out here messing around with Bumpy Johnson? Yes, the notorious gangster Bumpy Johnson. Baby, the streets is out here saying that Bumpy came around flashing all that cash and them rings and them sharp suits in front of Lena. And baby, Lena could not help herself. But listen at this. Here's some of the most scandalous info yet. You see, Bumpy Johnson was also very married, and his wife's name was Mamie. And don't y'all know it's gossip out here saying that Lena was actually at the house with his wife, like in his wife's face, while she was messing around with Bumpy? Now, I don't know the circumstances of this rumor or exactly what was going on, but girl, I can just imagine Mamie coming home, and when she walks through the door, Bumpy is telling her, you know, close your eyes, Mamie. So Mamie is like, you know, what's going on? And he's like, close your eyes, baby. And so she closes her eyes, and so Bumpy is like, okay, now you can open your eyes, and she opens them, and Lena Horne is there, and Mamie is like, oh my gosh, Lena Horne, you know, thank you so much, Bumpy, how did you do this? And so Bumpy is like, how? Do you know who I am? I'm Bumpy Johnson, baby. You know I got those connections. I'll do anything for you. Just a line, child. When in reality, the only reason that Lena was probably over there is because her and Bumpy had been knocking the boots, and then they heard that key coming through the door. And so when they heard that, you know, Bumpy jumping up and putting on his clothes and like, Lena, you know, hide in that closet. I'm gonna act like you a surprise for my wife. And of course, Lena hides, and when Mamie comes in, everybody is like, surprise! But ain't no surprise in it, child. But anyways, that all just came from my imagination, and y'all know how I am. All I know is that some gossip says that Lena Horne was conversing with Bumpy's wife inside of her home while she was messing around with Bumpy Johnson. Now, speaking of this, I'm not sure how long that affair between Lena Horne and Bumpy Johnson lasted, but I do know that it is said that once Mamie did find out, she confronted Bumpy, and Bumpy said he was sorry, and he said he would never see Lena Horne again, and he didn't. He cut it off. So Lena Horne Littell was definitely out here living, honey, and doing what she wanted to do, and she definitely was scandalous. But then again, around this time, who wasn't? To get back to her career, she is starting to do big things. She was now done with the Cotton Club, honey, and she had moved up the ranks. Now she was entertaining multiple people as a performing lady of Cafe Society. And Cafe Society is where the wealthiest of the wealthy would get together and enjoy their drinks, be able to kick their feet up and just relax and enjoy the entertainment. And the entertainment at this time, like I said, was Lena Horne. And not only was Lena Horne making a name for herself at high-end New York clubs at this time, there was also Miss Hazel Scott. And baby, let me tell you something. Miss Hazel Scott was up there doing her thing. I mean, she was really fantastic at what she did, especially playing on that piano. And she was also very beautiful and very classy. And honestly, she was a force to be reckoned with. And this leads us into a little bit of more scandal, a little bit of more tea, child. Now, don't you know it's claimed that Lena and Hazel did not care for each other? And most sources claim that it was actually Hazel Scott that did not care for Miss Lena Horne. But other sources say that it was not just that simple. It was not just one-sided like that, like Hazel Scott didn't like her and Lena was just all innocent. You see, here's the thing. Miss Hazel wasn't no light, bright, almost white, pass the paper bag test type of gal. No, she was just a regular, beautiful, brown-skinned girl that knew how to carry herself very professionally and very gracefully. And I've already told you that she knew how to play the heck out of that piano. But see, that wasn't the only thing Miss Hazel Scott was good at. She also was great at pulling men. And I want to make this part very clear. Great at pulling any man, similar to Miss Lena Horne. So there you have it. You have two beautiful women who are very talented, who are used to all of the attention being on them. And from here you got two sides of gossip. The first gossip says, like I told you, that Hazel Scott did not like the fact that Lena Horne was coming and encroaching and basically being the new girl. You know what I'm saying? Getting all of this attention and, talking to the men that Hazel liked. But then you have the other rumor that says that Lena Horne didn't expect to compete over men with a girl like Hazel Scott. I guess she didn't feel like Hazel Scott was in her league. I don't know. But whatever the case, it is clear that the women did not really care for each other, and they also liked the same type of men, and sometimes the actual same men. And so they're constantly passing by each other, and the circles that they're running in are all around the same circles. So it was destined to blow. And gossip says that one night it did. Baby, it said that a man came in there that both of them liked or something like that, and either Lena or Hazel was talking to this man and the other one was upset about it. Don't you know, one of them came to the bar and was like, this my dude, or I don't know how the fight went down, but one of them came to the bar. Next thing you know, it was all kind of hair pulling, you know what I'm saying? All kind of busting upside the head, all kind of slaps going on. I guess they were just dragging each other because I didn't see where there was a clear winner of the fight. I just read that they actually fought. Like it was hair and bows going, child. Them girls was fighting. And for the life of me, when I read that they were possibly fighting over a man, I don't know why, y'all, but in my mind, I feel like that man was Adam Clayton Powell. I just feel like that Lena Horne maybe tried to rub up on Adam Clayton Powell or something like that, and he was already in a relationship with Hazel Scott, and Hazel wasn't having it. But like I said, that's in my mind. I don't know if it's true. I just really feel like they were fighting over Adam Clayton Powell. But anyway, let me get out of my imagination and get back to the story. So, Lena Horne is the darling of cafe society. Her talent and her beauty are undeniable, and everybody can see that she is destined to be a megastar. And soon she leaves the high-end clubs of New York to perform at the lush celebrity-filled clubs in Hollywood. And when she gets to Hollywood, she debuts her club act at Felix Young's Little Troc on the Sunset Strip. And this happens in January 1942. And of course, beautiful Lena Horne grabs everybody's attention and got tongues wagging everywhere, and everybody is talking about her. She wows them just like she did in New York. And within a few weeks, she was brought to the studio to sign with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. And soon after that, they put her in her first movie. That movie was called Panama Hattie. But it was when she was cast and performed the title song for the movie Stormy Weather that Lena Horne had arrived. She became a household name. Well, at least for black households. In black households, everybody knew or wanted to know who was this woman. The way she thrilled on the screen, the way she whipped around and sang these notes so delicately. Then she had on that straight, beautiful black dress, and she was truly and undeniably mesmerizing, and Hollywood knew that she was going to make a splash like this. This is why they had already cast her for another movie that had an all-black cast, and this movie was called Cabin in the Sky. And once again, Lena Horne did not disappoint. She rocked the screen every time her beautiful face showed up. And at this point, Lena Horne was really supposed to be set to be on a roll in her film career. But there was one little problem. There were no more all-black musical films on the roster set to come out soon, which meant there were no more movies coming out soon that Lena Horne could be a leading lady. And unfortunately, this slowed down her career. And they did use her. I mean, she did find work. They did put her in different movies, but these movies were all-white cast pretty much, outside of Lena being like a nightclub singer, or maybe the main character was walking through a train station and Lena was just a lady on the train just singing, and she would have that type of part, but it really had no relevancy to the movie. It had nothing to do with the script. She would just be a woman singing, and the films wanted it to be this way because they wanted to be able to cut Lena out if they needed to. And of course they did need to when they showed those movies in the South. So although Lena was being put in movies and they were pretty much trying to let her work as much as she could in order to deserve the pay that she was getting, because she had no definitive parts in these movies, her star quality did not continue to rise.
Hey guys, I needed to add this in too. Another reason that Lena Horne could not find a lot of work in Hollywood at this time is because she was pretty much blacklisted for being a communist. Although she did not have any ties to the party, what happened is that she was blacklisted by association because she was so close to Paul Robeson, who they pretty much like signed, sealed, delivered and said he was a communist no matter what. So because of her association with him, she kind of got blacklisted. But honey, let me tell you, it's some tea on that too that we're going to get to in a minute, but I just needed to put this part in here.
Now, it took about 7 or 8 years for another serious role to come around for Lena to consider, and that was the role of Julie Laverne in the movie Showboat. And Lena had actually already played this role in another musical, but this was a part like the parts I just mentioned, something where she was just doing a standalone singing scene. Well, now they were trying to make a full movie revolving around this character, where this character was a main person, and they no longer wanted Lena for the role. In fact, she went up against Ava Gardner for the role, and Ava Gardner got this role. And let Lena tell it, she was actually chosen for the role. She claims that somebody told her that she had gotten the role, and then they turned around and cut her and put Ava Gardner in the role. But let the studios tell it, they never told Lena that she was going to get this role. Like, they said that she made that up. It was always Ava Gardner that they were considering for this role. Well, I'm not sure which side is telling the truth on that, but I do know that it said that Lena Horne and Ava Gardner were really good friends, and some rumors would say that they were really good friends. In fact, it is claimed that the reason that Frank Sinatra could not stand Lena Horne is because Lena Horne was giving it to Ava Gardner real good. And you already know that Frank didn't like anybody who had slept around with his Ava Gardner. But regarding that rumor, most people feel like that rumor is a lie and that Lena and Ava were only friends, nothing more. And they say that the real reason that Frank Sinatra and Lena Horne did not get along is because Lena Horne did not take any of Frank Sinatra's mess. And it's also said that Frank Sinatra didn't like Lena Horne because of the way that she did his friend, which was Lena's second husband, a man by the name of Lenny. But we'll get into that more in just a moment. So pretty much as soon as Lena's film career got started, it started dragging at a snail's pace. And this was hard for her because, you know, she needed to provide. So she really needed some money and she really needed to work. But Lena was determined to make it on the screen. She did not want to go back to the nightclubs. She just didn't want to do it because she felt like she had made a name for herself now. You know, she felt like she was a star, so surely she should be getting some role. But child, listen at this. One night it said that she had a conversation with the most real woman that I've ever done on this old Hollywood Scandalous channel. And that person was Billie Holiday. And Billie told Lena straight up, girl, you better get your tail back out there and sing. These folks is not checking for you like that. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. You need to make yourself some money. And sitting here waiting is not going to do it. And so this is what gave Lena Horne the push to get back into the nightclubs. And she did. And Lena actually put a lot into her nightclub act. You know, she went back at it full-fledged and she was making a lot of money. Once again, she became the darling of the nightclub scene. But truly, she had another disappointment waiting for her. And that is because there was another girl on the nightclub scene. This girl was also very charming. She was very beautiful and she had a shape out of this world. She was truly something else. Now, she wasn't new on the nightclub scene. She had been performing for a long time. But in that time she had been performing before, she was looked at as a little girl. You know, she sang with her sister and she sang with another girl. She wasn't really looked at like a legit nightclub singer. But see, now this girl had started an affair with a man who turned her from a child to a smoldering and smoking hot grown woman. And when this happened, this so-called girl started giving Lena Horne a run for her money big time, because this girl was the one and only Dorothy Dandridge. Oh yes, hunty, don't get it twisted. Miss Dorothy Dandridge came for everything Lena Horne held dear without even trying. And the thing about it is that she was successful with it. I mean, baby girl was snatching crowns left and right because she not only dominated Lena, she dominated any other black actress that was around at that time. But it didn't matter too much to Lena though, because Lena never lost sight of herself and what she was trying and wanted to do. So she continued to perform and wow the crowds the best way she knew how. And she was pretty much perfection. And she tried not to let what Dorothy Dandridge was doing bother her. But there was one thing that happened that, she just couldn't fight off the burn. She couldn't fight it off. And that is when Dorothy Dandridge had been cast as Corman Jones. And of course this burned Lena Horne up. Of course it did. She had been waiting this whole time for a true leading lady role. And then this new girl just comes and snatches it out of her hands. And of course it's mostly gossip that says it bothered Lena Horne, but that pretty much seems like fact. I also think it's fact because gossip says that Lena Horne and Dorothy Dandridge didn't really get along. And some of the quotes they were recorded as saying pretty much proves that they did not get along. For instance, Dorothy was rumored to have said this concerning Lena. Well, I don't know why Lena doesn't like me. I mean, I can't help it if she only gets the roles that I turn down. Shay. And then Lena is rumored to have said something to this effect about Dorothy Dandridge. Dorothy Dandridge is good. Well, heck, she should be. She got all of the song arrangers that I threw away, so let's hope the girl is good at something, or something to that effect. So clearly, these two ladies did not get along, and that is to be expected. Now, after Dorothy got on screen and pretty much dominated it, she killed it as Corman Jones, even up to the point where she was nominated for an Academy Award, Lena pretty much focused on her nightclub career as well as her television career. She also did many stage performances. As far as stage, TV, nightclub, she did way more than many other black actresses of that time. And many people thought it was due to Lena's talent, but see, as time has passed, we have also found out that Lena married her second husband to get a leg up in her career. Now, I'm not saying that she did not have talent. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying that it may not have all been due to her talent that Lena Horne was appearing in all of these nightclubs, that she was appearing in all of these stage productions. It may not have been only because of her talent. In fact, Lena Horne herself is said to have admitted that she married this man mostly to advance her career. She said that she learned to love him, but she did not love him at first. And this man was called Lenny Hayton. And Lenny Hayton definitely had some connection because he was the musical director and one of the premier musical conductors and arrangers at MGM. So the man definitely had ties to get his wife a leg up in the industry. Now, Lena and Lenny married in 1947. But see, here's the problem when you marry somebody for convenience or you marry somebody for a leg up. When they cannot continue to give you that convenience or they don't hold as much power as they used to, or when you got power in your own right and you really just don't need their connections anymore, that marriage a lot of times turns sour because there's not really much love there. And although Lena says that she grew to love this man, gossip says that towards the end, like she didn't want to be there with him anymore. I guess he just couldn't do anything for her, and so she kind of just went on her own way. In fact, they separated in the early 1960s, and here is where we come back around to that gossip with Frank Sinatra. It is said that Frank Sinatra was very, very close friends with Lenny, and that he loved Lenny, I guess, like a brother, and that he could not stand the way that Lena Horne was treating his friend. And there's a rumor going around that when Lenny got sick or when he was close to death, that Frank Sinatra got on the phone and called Lena Horne and basically went off on her and let her know, hey, your husband's sick. Your husband's sick. Where are you? Get your behind here with your husband. Said that he was talking to her like that, child, and I guess she came back to get with her husband. I don't know. Now, career-wise for Lena Horne, we have made it all the way up to the 60s. And from here to the 70s, 80s, 90s, she appeared in television and she continued to sing and she continued to do shows. What I'm trying to say is she pretty much became the Lena Horne that we know and remember today. So now y'all know what it's time for, child. It's time to get in some more scandalous T-bumps, honey. Let's do it. Now, first things first, let's talk about the rumor that is out about Paul Robeson and Lena Horne. Now, this rumor is not saying that these people messed around with each other, but it is said that these two entertainers worked very closely to each other when it came down to civil rights. And Robeson, just like Horne, was very outspoken about equal rights, about being treated fairly. And Lena would go on and on about how she loved him, how he just taught her so much, how she looked up to him with so much pride. And then when he needed her most, baby, Lena dropped him like a hot potato. Gossip is out here saying that when Paul Robeson was accused of being a communist and everybody turned their backs on him, he looked to Lena for help, and this all he saw. Yes, honey. said Lena was right there turning her back on him as well. And the thing of it is that I see her point of view. I see what was happening. Because if she supported him, her career would have been over. You know what I'm saying? And maybe she had not amassed as much wealth as he had. Maybe she did not have all of her ducks in a row. You know, I'm not sure. But whatever the case, Lena Horne chose her career. Next, let's talk about the little issue she had with Miss Josephine Baker. So y'all remember in 1951 when Josephine Baker was refused service at the Stork Club. And if you don't know much about that, please go watch my Josephine Baker video and I'll break it down on that video. But anyways, Josephine Baker was refused service at the Stork Club because she was black. And when this happened, there was a huge uproar about it. And so soon there was this huge petition and boycotts, and everybody was like, sign the petition in support of Josephine Baker, you know, sign the petition, be against the Stork Club. So this petition was going around everywhere. And soon a telegram arrived at Miss Lena Horne's door asking her to sign the petition. Child, Lena took one look at that telegram and put it in the trash. She wasn't finna sign no petition. Now her reason for doing this, she claims, is that she thought the restaurant was a dump. You know, she was wondering who would eat there anyway. Like, I'm not worried about that restaurant. And she felt like it wasn't worth it to sign. But the fact that she did not sign it made Josephine feel like, oh, so sis, you trying to do me, huh? You ain't trying to support me. Like, it's really like that? You really gonna do me like that? And then gossip says Josephine Baker went even further and started bad-mouthing Lena Horne to anybody around. Basically like, you know, she don't support the cause, like who she thinks she is and all this kind of stuff. But what Josephine didn't know is that Lena Horne wasn't the only black celebrity that did not jump on her bandwagon. Baby, don't you know that Louis Armstrong has something to say too? And I'm about to put it in layman's terms, but this is what he said. I'm not signing nothing. She coming all over here in this nation and getting all them O-phase, which that's slang and offensive to white people. Did y'all know that? I had no idea. I never heard of that word O-phase. But anyways, this is what he said. She trying to stir up trouble over in this nation and getting all the O-phase that like us to turn against us. And so now she done stirred up all this mess. Everybody feeling sorry for Josephine. Oh, Josephine, oh, let me give her money. Let me give her support. And then as soon as she get all that money, all that loot, everything she can get, she gonna run her behind right back over there to France and leave it a mess for the rest of the blacks over here. No, I don't dig her at all. Louis, baby, I guess he said what he said, honey. And next, y'all, let's talk about some side-eye scandalous tea, honey. Because after you hear this gonna make you give Lena Horne the side eye. And all of her fans that's finna jump down my throat. Everybody in their life has had a side-eye moment. That's just what it is. So anyway, y'all know I told y'all about Freddie Washington helping Lena Horne in the beginning, okay? Or that it's rumored that Freddie Washington helped her. Well, it said that Freddie Washington not only just like helped her and gave her pointers, she actually loaned her clothes. She recommended Lena for jobs when people were looking for singers or dancers. And she also did a lot of raving about Lena. You know, just basically giving her big ups all the time. Freddie would make sure she was in front of big, important people, and she would say things like, oh my God, Lena Horne, that girl that's dancing with the Cotton Club, she is amazing. She's doing great things, you know, and it will make people interested in Lena Horne. So she did a lot to help Lena Horne. Baby, don't you know that it is said that in 1994, when Freddie Washington got ill and was on her deathbed, her sister Isabel called Lena Horne and told her, hey Lena, you know, Freddie is about to pass away. Could you please call my sister? I'm sure that would mean a lot to her if she could have a conversation with you. You know, sure, you care pretty much. Lena Horne was like, okay, sure will. Click, and walked on away. Didn't never call the woman, child. It is said that it hurt Freddie's feelings so bad, and her sister Isabel was fuming. Baby, if she would have seen Lena, it would have been on sight. You hear me? Because she felt like she done her sister wrong. And when she was asked about it, Isabel said this: the way she treated my sister after Freddie had been so kind and gracious to her, no, I don't feel too kindly towards Lena Horne. She ignored Freddie on so many occasions. Because, see, she had already gotten what she needed from Freddie. And now she didn't need her no more. There's also another rumor about Lena Horne and Harry Belafonte. It is said that they are pretty much frenemies, or were frenemies. You know, they were good friends at first. In fact, when Harry Belafonte could not find an apartment because nobody would rent to him because he was black, Lena was like, hey, you can come live with me and my husband Lenny. So Harry moved in with them and they were cool at first. But child, don't you know the gossip says that when Harry started getting bigger in the films, Lena started to get jealous, and also Harry started to act like, he was this, and that. So, it just made for a bad relationship. It got so bad that they ended up refusing to speak to each other for years, some would say. And Lena said something to the effect of our egos clashed. So she pretty much telling it what it was. She probably was jealous of him because he got bigger, and he probably thought he was all that because he got bigger, and just was a recipe for disaster. All right, now let's move on to the story with Ethel Waters and Lena Horne. This tea goes all the way back to 1942 when they were working on the set of the movie Cabin in the Sky. Honey, it was all kind of mess on that set. I mean, it was terrible because Ethel Waters did not have nothing for Lena Horne. She didn't like her, period, point blank. Now, gossip says it's because Ethel was threatened by Lena Horne. You know what I'm saying? Ethel Waters had been one of, if not the most famous black actress for a while at that point. And now you got Lena gliding onto the set, talking about stormy weather and all that kind of stuff. Ethel wasn't having it. And the thing about it is that Ethel Waters apparently was not the type who did not like you, but was still cordial, kind of acted reserved about the way she felt. No, rumor reads as if she was this type that if she didn't like you, you knew it. You know what I'm saying? She would make snarky comments. She would be mean. She would be rude to you. So they are all working on the set of Cabin in the Sky, like I told you before. And suddenly rumors start floating around the set that Lena Horne has gotten this part because she has opened her legs to every producer or music director or whoever, anybody in the studio. Ethel has put it out like Lena Horne has slept with them. Now, Lena Horne says that she remembers this rumor being spread about her, but she also said that this was absolutely not true. She did not sleep her way up to the top. Whatever the case, the rumors that Ethel had put out did not work. It did not get Lena thrown off the set. It did not get people not to like Lena. It just didn't work. Now, in this movie, Lena and Ethel had only one scene together, okay? And then it came down to the day that they were about to film that scene. But right as they were starting to film, Lena fell down and she broke her ankle. And when this happened, Ethel is gonna say, woo-wee! The Lord works in mysterious ways. Thank you, God. Just being snarky. But even after she said that, everybody was rushing to aid Lena Horne. Everybody is like, you're okay? Are you all right? Oh my, your ankle and all this kind of stuff. This made Ethel Waters furious. Baby, they claim she started fussing and hollering, just acting a fool, started talking about Lena like a dog, even started to say that Hollywood was full of old Jews and, too much going on, just like really started talking out of the side of her neck. She was just that upset. Everybody was probably laughing when she was saying that little stuff about Lena Horne, but then when she said that stuff about Jews in Hollywood, the joke wasn't so funny no more, and the record scratched and stopped for Ethel Waters. And rumor has it that after that day, after she said that, she could not find work for at least 6 years in Hollywood. Now, this next little bit of scandal paints Lena Horne as the aggressor, and this is involving Diahann Carroll. Gossip says that Diahann Carroll looked up to Lena Horne. She thought Lena Horne had great talent, and so Lena Horne was giving this show, and Diahann Carroll would come night after night after night, like she just loved the show. And one night Lena Horne was like, "You're here again?" And Diahann Carroll was like, "Yes, ma'am, and I may be here the next night." And Lena kind of just gave her the cold shoulder, kind of just treated her badly. So Diahann didn't know what was up, but she said she later found out that Lena Horne was jealous of Diahann Carroll. She felt like Diahann Carroll was younger, and clearly the young lady had some talent, so Lena Horne was kind of watching her spot. But here's the thing though, Diahann Carroll said she understood why Lena Horne was treating her like that, because she said that she herself, as she aged, started giving young black actresses the cold shoulder. Now let's get into some deep scandal and tea, honey, and we also got to rewind it back a little bit. And that is so we can go back to the tea that Lena Horne treated her son Edwin differently than she treated her daughter Gail. These folks is out here saying that there was a clear difference, like Lena did not care who saw the difference, that she treated her daughter Gail like she was up here, like she was the apple of her mother's eye, and treated Teddy like, just less than, almost like he was a cast off. But see, here's the thing that I think was wrong with Lena as far as her relationship with her son. I feel like that, she did not have that connection with her son because he was raised by his father, and also maybe the way he looked at her, because his father was poisoning his mind. So maybe Lena just could not really show that affection to her son like she should have. And at the same time that I'm saying that, I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying it's right at all. It is absolutely wrong if she did make a difference with her son. I'm just saying that that probably was the reason behind it, because I just can't imagine her just being that way for no reason. But hold on, let me slow down, because see, last time I tried to sit up there and take up for Luther Vandross, baby, y'all start hitting me with all kind of messages about Luther out here being a diva and being messy and just being nasty for no reason. In fact, one of the viewers of the video actually did a interview with Dawn of En Vogue about how Luther treated them, and I'm gonna put that video link in the description box. Y'all please go listen to Dawn talk about how Luther did them. Baby, the way he did a pregnant Cindy, oh, that was enough for me. That really changed my opinion on Luther. Still love him to death, but I also know that Luther was a diva. So, like I said, let me stop saying, I can't imagine this, I can't imagine that, because that got me in trouble last time. But I do feel like that Lena had that problem with her son because of the fact he was raised with his father, and his father hated his mother. But this is just the tip of it, y'all. There's some other gossip out here that's just a scandalous thing, child. Let me tell you about it. So her son Edwin ended up passing away. He was only 29 years old and he had kidney disease. And the year was 1970. So when he passed, he did have a wife and children, but his wife, I guess it became overwhelming for her, or I guess she really didn't care for those kids in the first place. I'm not sure. Whatever the case, it is said that his wife abandoned the children. She went on and left and lived her life as a single woman with no kids. And when she did leave the children, everybody was looking at Lena Horne, and Lena was like, I don't know what y'all looking at me for. What y'all want me to do? You heard me right. Said Lena ain't tried to take them kids in, didn't want to take those kids in, just really didn't have nothing for her grandchildren, not for real. And because she did not take them in, they ended up getting with someone else, and whoever this person is, gossip says that this person really milked their situation, doing all kind of interviews about how Lena Horne was not a good grandmother, she basically are letting these children be out here fending for themselves, and they said that this person really did a lot for a money grab. But I do know that if he or she did go out there and do all of these interviews dogging Lena Horne, baby, that didn't matter. Lena didn't care nothing about them interviews. That was not about to make her change her mind. Now, here's where it gets even messier. Not only is it claimed that Lena left her son out to dry and that she also didn't really have any dealings with her grandchildren, they also claim that Lena does not believe that one of those children is her son's child. And rumor has it that she treated this child in particular very, very dirty, because she really just did not feel like that was her son's child. Now, I don't know if Lena went to her grave treating this child like this, or if they maybe reconciled, but that rumor is definitely out there standing tall, saying that she mistreated her son, her son's children, and in particular that one child. But to be honest with you, to build up on this little last piece of gossip, it is said that Lena had a problem with treating people like this. Like she did kind of discard people. But it is claimed that this stemmed from her childhood. This stemmed from having problems with her mother and her father, especially her mother. Because see, after her mother pushed her into show business, she got jealous of Lena because Lena found success and her mother Edna could never find that success. So she turned against her daughter because she was just so envious. Now, outside of the men who I've already named, there are said to be even more men that Lena Horne had affairs with. Artie Shaw, Orson Welles, Vincent Minnelli, and it's also claimed that if she could, she would have got it on with Billy Strayhorn. But Billy Strayhorn was gay, and he was an openly gay male. Lena did say that if Billy Strayhorn was not a gay man, he would have been her husband. Now, Miss Lena Horne died of congestive heart failure on May 9th, 2010 at the age of 92. She may have done a little cheating here and there, may have been a little nasty, may have been a little diva, but of course, she left her mark on this world and she did what she set out to do. Not only did she leave a mark for her beautiful singing and dancing and all of her talent, she also left a mark because she fought heavily for civil rights and for blacks to be treated equally. And now we are at the end of the old Hollywood scandalous tale for Miss Lena Horne. Please go ahead and click like and subscribe, and I will be back with a new video soon. Bye.